everyone. So today we're going to look at Schmincke Horadam Chromium Oxide Green. It's a beautiful green, although it is a little bit on the opaque side, but it's the actual tone of it I find very attractive. So we will do as we always do, and I'm going to show you the previous swatch we did from the previous episode, which was the Cerulean green. And we're going to do the transparency test, dispersed test, and mixing it with a variety of blues and one green, Phthalo green, and the rest are blues, ultramarine, finest, cerulean blue, hue, Delft blue, indigo, Prussian blue. All of these watercolors are from Schmincke Horadam palette, which I have laid out here on my left. Now let's look at the pigment. So the pigment is a single pigment. It's a PG17, which is pigment green 17. Now, when we look at the info on the actual tube, it says 5 stars for light fastness, which is 5 out of 5, so it's top rating. It's a series 2 watercolor. In terms of transparency, you can see the square is black, which means it's fully opaque, and the triangle above is half black, half white, which means it's a semi-staining color. Now let's look at the catalog, what it says here. So what the color itself is here, the chromium oxide green. It's a beautiful green. So compared to olive green or olive green yellowish, you can see it's sort of like right in the middle as it is put here. Very beautiful, warm toned, kind of leafy green color. So in terms of its usage, it says here opaque green with very high tinting strength, recommended for landscape painting, which doesn't surprise me because, like I said, it's a beautiful green which can probably be used on its own as well as mixing in with other colors. Now, let's move on to mixing. So I've got a tear-off palette here, and I'm going to squeeze out, and let's see. It seems to be a very liquid color, and it's not erupting from the tube, but I have to give it a good squeeze, so that should be enough. And let's see how it's going to do on the transparency test, which is why I have this black line right here. So I'm just going to take some of this out into a little puddle, and I can see already it does look like like an opaque watercolor. So what I'm expecting is that the black line will be covered. And you can see it is well covered. Okay, so let's do this dispersed test. And I'm going to just do a wet wash right here. And then basically dab that very same color in. Wow, that is pretty intense. I haven't actually experienced that strength yet. It is very, very strong dispersion. So next thing, I'm going to mix these colors, and then we're going to catch up at the end and see how they look. Okay, so the watercolors are now dry except for this one here, which I don't have the patience to wait for, but so yeah, you can see they're very beautiful, and once they have dried, there's quite a bit of texture happening throughout, although it's not supposed to be a granulating color from what I understand, but the oxides do granulate. So yes, very beautiful mixes. And if you are into greens and sort of, you know, kind of deep and moody greens, I think you would like that color. It's very natural. Sometimes with the sub green you have to mute it down because it might look too bright depending on what you're doing, but this is a perfect natural leafy green. And the other thing to say is, as they promised, it's not a transparent color, so you have to be aware of that. The black line, although is visible, it is not clear and crisp, so the color does settle on it. The color disperse was very interesting. I didn't expect it to be so strong. It doesn't have as much spidery, veiny kind of edging, but it just really moved quite dominantly through the paper on the water. And so let's look at the phthalo green mix. It's a beautiful kind of, I'd say like a hooker's green maybe. Yeah, very, very interesting combo, this one. Then Ultramarine Finest, nice throughout. Cerulean Blue Hue, that's another good one. And Delft Blue, Indigo, they're always giving us more moody colors because they are quite dark blues, so that's to be expected. And then with the Prussian blue, also very pretty mixes. So if you are into landscapes painting or florals and sort of are looking for a green that is of this quality and has a little bit of opacity to it and kind of density, then that may well be a good color for you. I am happy to have it in my collection for sure. It is definitely a perfect color for botanical art, even though it's not transparent, but there are occasions where you do need a color that has a little bit more opacity to it, as I have learned throughout doing the botanical paintings. So that is it for the Chromium Oxide Green. I hope you enjoyed this little swatch here, and thanks for watching. See you soon.